I am 80 years old. I'm sitting in this drafty 24-hour laundromat at 2 in the morning because the silence in my house has become a weight I can no longer carry. And I've realized that the only way to save what's left of my relationship with my children is to stop being their father and start being a man who can admit he was wrong. My 3 children are strangers to me, and for a long time I blamed them for it. I blamed their busyness, their modern lives, their lack of respect. But tonight, watching my old shirts tumble behind the glass, I'm finally admitting the truth. I spent 50 years building a wall of being right, and now I'm the one trapped behind it. I'm telling you this because I've spent the last 3 years in a silence so thick it felt like I was already buried. If you are waiting for your children to realize how much you did for them, you are wasting the very little time you have left. I won't bore you with the details of my career. I was a district manager. I worked 60 hours a week. And I thought that as long as the roof didn't leak and the tuition was paid, I had fulfilled my contract. I was the protector, the provider, and the judge. Every time I chose a conference call over a bedtime story, or every time I criticized a B- instead of celebrating the effort, I thought I was toughening them up. I didn't realize I was just teaching them that I wasn't a safe place to land. The clarity didn't hit me until my 75th birthday dinner. I tried to give my son David advice on his career, the same way I always had, blunt, authoritative, and unsolicited. He didn't argue. He just looked at his plate, exhaled a long, tired breath, and said, "Thanks, Dad. I forgot you have all the answers." The table went dead silent. It wasn't hatred in his voice. It was exhaustion. That was the moment I realized they didn't want my wisdom. They wanted my presence. And I didn't know how to give that because I was too busy being the patriarch. After my wife passed, the bridge between us collapsed entirely. She was the one who translated my silence into love for them. Without her, I was just an old man with a phone that didn't ring. I spent a long time being angry, calling them ungrateful. But sitting here tonight, I've realized that if I want them back, I have to be the one to climb over the wall I built. The first part of the repair is the hardest, the but-less apology. I realized that for years, whenever I apologized, I always added a but. I'm sorry I missed your game, but I had to work. I'm sorry I was harsh, but you needed to learn. An apology with a but is just an argument in disguise. It's a way of saying your reasons are more important than their feelings. To fix this, I had to call David and say, "I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I made you feel like you weren't enough. There is no excuse. I didn't explain. I didn't defend. I just held the weight of my own failure. You have to let them be angry. You have to let them tell you how you hurt them without trying to correct their memory of it. Their pain is real, even if you didn't intend to cause it. The second method is surrendering the role of the teacher. This was a slow, painful death of my ego. As a father, I felt I always had to be the one with the answers. I felt that if I wasn't teaching, I wasn't parenting. But my children are adults with their own scars and their own wisdom. They don't need a professor. They need a witness. I had to learn to sit with my daughter and listen to her talk about her struggles without offering a single, "if I were you," or "what you should do is." I had to learn to just say, "That sounds really hard," and leave it there. When you stop trying to fix their lives, they finally feel like they can let you into them. The third thing is becoming the one who reaches out without expectation. I used to sit by the phone, stewing in my pride, thinking it was their job to check on me because I'm the parent. I thought respect was something owed, not earned. I was wrong. I started sending small texts. No pressure, no guilt trips about not calling. Just, "I saw this and thought of you." Or, "I was thinking about the day we went to the lake, and I realized I never told you how much I enjoyed your company." I had to show them that I was thinking about them, not just thinking about my own loneliness. You have to be willing to be the one who loves more, the one who tries harder, because you're the one who spent decades doing the opposite. The fourth method, and perhaps the most vital, is showing them the man behind the mask. I lived my life as a district manager, a figure of authority who never showed weakness. I thought vulnerability was a failure. But my children don't want a statue. They want a father. I had to call them and say, "I'm lonely. I'm 80 years old, and I'm scared of how quiet this house is." I had to admit that I didn't know how to be a good friend. When I showed them my cracks, it gave them permission to show me theirs. You can't have a real relationship with someone who is always wearing armor. The fifth thing is accepting the unfixable. There are things I will never be able to make right. I missed the plays, the games, the moments of heartbreak where they needed a hug and got a lecture instead. Those years are gone. I had to stop trying to repay them for the past and start just being here for the present. You have to live with the regret without letting it paralyze you. If you spend all your time mourning the father you weren't, you'll miss the chance to be the man they need now. The sixth method is the hardest to practice: radical listening. At my age, I'm used to being the one who talks. But I've realized that the greatest gift I can give my children is the feeling of being truly heard. I have to bite my tongue. I have to ask questions that don't have an agenda. I have to listen until they are finished, and then I have to listen a little more. You'd be surprised how much people will tell you when they realize you aren't just waiting for your turn to speak. I'm 80, and the clock in this laundromat is ticking toward 3. My laundry is dry. I'll fold these clothes and go back to my house, and I'll try to be brave enough to call my daughter tomorrow. I won't tell her how to raise her kids. I won't tell her about my health. I'll just ask her what she's dreaming about these days, and then I'll stay quiet. If you're still holding on to your pride, if you're waiting for an apology from your children before you give them yours, please let it go. Your pride will keep you warm in the short term, but it's a very cold companion in the end. They don't need your explanations. They don't need your money. They just need to know that you see them, not as extensions of your ego, but as people who managed to grow up in spite of you. I wish I had known at 40 that being right is a very lonely victory. I wasted decades winning arguments and losing my family. Don't wait until you're 80 and sitting in a laundromat to realize that the most important words you'll ever say aren't "I told you so," but "I am here and I am listening." If this reached you, if you've been staring at a phone that isn't ringing, maybe just try to send that first text today. Don't make it about you. Just be a person. If you're willing, share what it is you have been too proud to say. Sometimes just putting it into words makes the wall feel a little shorter. Take care. The night is almost over.